Howdy everyone, my name's Roy Ramey and I'm running for Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of West Virginia. And I appreciate you all tuning in to watch today. I'm here with a buddy of mine, Buddy Dempsey, and I appreciate him coming on. We're going to talk a little bit about agriculture in general and specifically in West Virginia, and a little bit about my campaign and how I intend to tackle the problems that we seem to have that's plaguing the agriculture industry in our community. So let me start by talking about my philosophy of small farming. And this is contrary to a lot of the folks out there in the mainstream agriculture. I promote small local farms supporting their local community. And that is different than industrial farms on a small scale. When you hear a lot of people talk about small farms, that's what they're thinking of. Industrial farms on a small scale. And that's actually contradictory to the whole notion of industrial farming, which is based on economies of scale and get bigger and more massive and all that. And my version of small local farms is a small farm like what we do on Avalon Farms, and a lot of my neighbors and a lot of folks around. And we produce food for our local community, whether it be our neighbors directly, or I sell through the Wild Ramp Market in Huntington, and there's a lot of other folks that produce and sell through their local farmers market, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about small local farms. What does that do? It provides us more income on our farm, as we don't lose money to the industrial model. There's a lot of middlemen involved there. It also keeps that money in the community. So for instance, I buy feed for my livestock from a local feed mill, and that money stays in the community. And then when a customer buys from my farm or at my products at the farmer's market, that money is staying in the community as much as possible, as opposed to going through the big mega marts and our money gets fleeced off to some corporate headquarters out of state. So we'll keep more money there. Now back to the middlemen. The industrial model has a whole lot of the money stripped away, where the farmer is only getting about 18 cents on the dollar. And out of that, you have, out of the other part of it rather, you have transportation, processing, marketing, retail, taxes, and all that stuff that takes up the rest of that dollar, and the farmer's not getting it. So they have to work harder to produce more just to earn less. So in the small local model, we can keep more of that for us, which gives us a better opportunity as a farmer. So another important part of my campaign is talking about the education. And we've been talking a lot about education and how we can use that to improve agriculture in our state. So what were some of your ideas, buddy?
Well, I had thought that maybe if we worked through the school system and through the VOTEC system, that some of these young kids that just want what I wanted when I was a kid, was just to be a farmer, just to live on a farm. Mm-hmm. And the way that we could train them to do that is by building small agricultural based farmers markets inside the school. Mm-hmm. So that the agricultural students can have a greenhouse or whatever and learn how to produce that product. You could also bring in like the STEM students to design hydroponic systems, automation, lighting, that sort of thing to help grow the plants. You could even bring in kids who want to be more business oriented, like the accounting students, to come in, help with the accounting. If you've got somebody who wants to be a high-end chef when they grow up, they can use the product produced on that small micro farm to create a product. You've got kids who want to go into sales, who can actually open a storefront inside the cafeteria. You give the kids an opportunity to learn all of these skills. Plus, because it's being produced right there locally, that food is going to retain more nutritional value because it's not going to get lost in transport. And you
Right.
and I both know that when you harvest a tomato, by the time it's shipped all the way out from California, all the nutritional value is drained out of it because that
Right.
tomato starts dying as soon as it's planted,
Right.
as soon as it's
The
picked.
clock is ticking
The
right
clock
away.
is ticking.
Yep.
And so just having more food locally, even if these kids grow up and stay local
Mhm.
and produce local, having all this food locally is bound to be better
Right.
than having it shipped in from all over the place.
Often we talk about in the education system that we're training kids for the real world,
Yeah,
and it probably couldn't be further from the truth with the current model of a lot of the education. But what you've just described, we're really teaching kids about the real world.
right,
We're
right.
teaching them about opportunities as an entrepreneur, as a farmer, as a chef, as a business owner, all those different things that that builds into our local community. And
We're teaching them to. We need to teach them to be generators and producers
right,
rather than buyers and spenders.
right, exactly. Yeah, and that's how you build an economy, and particularly keeping it local. Now, we could still have all the basic skills in there. You're going to have reading and writing and math and science and all the basic skills that we expect the student to learn.
Right. Well,
They're just figuring out how to apply it to specific things.
Right.
If their interest is in science and engineering, well, they can design and build those systems. And if their interest is in growing things, well, they can grow food and plants and animals and whatever their interest is. And Lord, they have, 3 months off in the summertime?
3 months off in the summertime, they could still be in there if they're really dedicated and they really want to do this when they grow up or when they graduate. They can still come in there, and it could even be incorporated as such as a summer youth program.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have the kids out here trimming the brush off of the highways, and that was all good and well, and that gave them some spending money. If you're going to pay them to do something, why not pay them to do something to have a skill that's going to carry out and turn them into young entrepreneurs and young business leaders,
Right,
rather than just have them tracked into a system.
right. And that would be a voluntary system, based on the way you and I think, I believe.
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
Things
would.
are voluntary, so we're not forcing kids to come in during the summer. But if they wanted that opportunity to learn something more, improve their skills and create opportunities for themselves, obviously with coaching from a good teacher
Exactly.
who knows those things. And I believe that we can build that into our policies and systems, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that.
No, there's not. And the thing about it is, when they're when you invest in something, especially when you're young, when you invest your time in something, and you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, then you appreciate the end product,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
You
Right,
have
so
skin in the game. Is
You have
typically
skin in the
what we
game,
say.
and these kids will learn to do things. They'll learn to take better care of the environment because they'll figure out what goes into the soil.
Right.
Eventually winds up in the food. And like I said, it gives them something to do.
Right.
It gives them something to do, and something that if they're earning a paycheck doing it, and I understand it's voluntary, but I think they should receive at least a student
Right.
wage.
Right.
Then they're generating their own income, and they can use that income for whatever they want. They can go out and buy other things in the community. They can spend it on a movie. They can spend it on a video game. They can put it aside for college.
Right.
It's just whatever they want to do with their life. Let's give them a head start, a real
Right.
head start.
Right. Obviously, we'll have to change some government policy on paying a student,
Yeah.
because we sure probably couldn't do that now with the current model. But there's
Well-
no reason we can change anything. We made the rules to start with.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we can't change the rules to what really works for us.
Well, when I was when I was a teenager, there was an opportunity for students my age group to go out with a brush axe and cut brush off this very road that we're next to, and they got a small paycheck.
Okay.
And I see no reason why we can't do it again.
Yeah, we had student jobs ourselves during the summer, detasseling corn and various other things. And of course, I had a lot of my own work opportunities because I was that kind of a person. We cut and stacked firewood and had lawn jobs. I maintained several of the neighbors' lawns and earned a decent living at that and had plenty of spending money. So, no reason why we can't bring back some of those opportunities now.
No, there's not. And like I said, if we give them their own little microeconomy to work in, then those are real world skills that they'll learn in real time.
Right. Now, another point of education that I often talk about and tell people about is the we have several state farms that are under the control of the Department of Agriculture. And there's people that want this opportunity, and not everybody is still in school. Some of them are out of school already and don't have that opportunity. And, they may or may not be able to go to college, but that's expensive. There's no reason to go in debt for $40,000 or $80,000 to learn about industrial farming just to be able to come back to West Virginia to put into practice small local farming.
Right.
So we can teach those skills through our state farms. And, we have wonderful models already, like Polyface Farm. Polyface Farm in Virginia is operated by Joel Saladin, and he does a lot of training on the farm and has a fantastic model that's actually profitable, and he brings folks down there to teach them. Well, there's no reason why we couldn't create that type of opportunity and model on our state farms to change over the method of farming, to teach management intensive grazing and how to raise hogs in a woodlot environment. That does a whole lot of things besides growing hogs, and you're also improving a timber stand, so you have multi-functions on the same place, and all the various aspects of agriculture that we say we could have in a regenerative agriculture model to teach that. Obviously, we would prohibit the use of chemicals. A big part of my campaign and is to reduce reduce the chemical piece of it, the herbicides and the pesticides. We don't use them on my farm, don't believe in it, and we set the example in how we operate, and we could do the same thing on agriculture state land, where we set the example by not using it and showing people, demonstrating how you can still operate a productive farm without those products. And it's just a mindset on how you change things up. So we could do training workshops for folks throughout the state where they could come and learn. It might be a few days workshop, it might be a week or a couple weeks, depending on the specific thing. And instead of having to go to college for 4 years and go in debt for $40,000 to $80,000, well, you could come to a couple week workshop and get all the skills that you need for a given thing. If you wanted to learn about raising cattle, raising poultry, everything from processing to marketing to how to structure your business, there's a whole lot of things that we can do to teach people about these various skills. And there's no reason why we couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, and even if you bring this beyond the school system, we have people who need to be retrained vocationally every day, and I mean it's a sad truth that what the coal mining industry has been through, and I know there's been plans to make these guys into computer coders, and that's great. If somebody wants to leave the mines and be a code a computer, that's great. But what about all the ones who don't? What about the ones who actually thrive on the physical activity instead of just sitting there at a keyboard all day?
Right. Yeah. Right. And can you imagine how great of a life it is to be out in nature and to work outside most of the time? Now, there's days that are tough, certainly, but man, to get in a mobile metal coffin and drive an hour to a job site that a lot of people don't care for their jobs, but
Yeah.
if you want to get into farming, there's a lot of nature involved, and everybody that I know, just about everybody that I know, loves their job. They just want more opportunities.
Exactly.
Loves their job in farming, that is.
Exactly. And
They
I
just
mean,
want more opportunities in it.
and you know, we can even expand this beyond when people think about farms. You know, well, you know, raising the pigs in the woods and raising cattle, but there's a lot of opportunity for aquaculture in this state.
Sure is. Yeah.
You know, we are a land of rivers. I tell people ask me where I live. I say I live in the middle of 3 rivers.
Mhm.
It was actually 4.
Okay.
But we live in the middle of 3 rivers. That's an environment where a person could, with the right training, could farm raise fish, farm raise catfish,
Right. Right.
farm raise trout. You know, whatever kind of fish that it is that you want. But the thing about it is, it gives you a skill and it gives you a marketable product.
Right. Right. You know, aquatic systems are some of the most productive in the world. When you look at how much space it takes versus how many pounds of meat you can produce, or even plant life in aquatic
Yeah.
systems, and you can have multiple things on one piece of aquatic spot. So there's no reason why you can't produce a lot of food in a small space.
Right.
And you know, we have a lot of unique geography here.
Yeah,
And,
we do.
And we could
do.
fit aquatic systems on a lot of that geography.
And we do have some larger towns and some larger cities that, you know, they don't have the range that you would need to raise cattle.
Right.
But you can take an empty lot or an abandoned building
Right.
and convert that into aquaculture like that.
Right. Yeah. So now you're bringing agriculture to the city. We have a lot of vacant lots and a lot of unused or underutilized buildings, like you're saying.
Yeah,
So
we do.
we could bring that closer to the people. So you have a big population in a city, and now you're bringing the food, growing the food right next to where it's at. Now you're reducing the transportation even more, so you're getting more fresh food closer to that population.
Closer to that population, and that's what it's all about. There is you know, we go back to the example of the tomato. Well, the same thing goes for that fish that was probably raised in a farm or caught in questionable waters,
Mm-hmm.
and then mass slaughtered, frozen, and who knows what all kinds of things go through it. When you've got a production facility right there in your town,
Mm-hmm.
you eliminate a lot of that.
Right.
A lot of that.
Exactly. Right. Then you can put more money toward good quality food
Yeah, you could.
instead of transporting it 2,000 miles across the country and
Exactly.
depleting in quality during
Exactly.
that time. So.
And then you bring in the the engineering into that. They say, well, you know, what about your saltwater species? Well, you know, people raise saltwater tanks all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and all you need is the right engineers and the right chemists.
Uh-huh.
You know, the rest of it's just water.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, buddy, I sure appreciate you coming out here today and discussing agriculture with me. It's one of my favorite topics, and I know you have a real passion for it yourself. And was there anything else that you'd like to share or bring up that we haven't pointed out yet?
No, I think we've got it pretty well covered on that. You know, just that I would like the people out there to think about it. You know, we say you shop locally, and the more local production you have, the better it is. So maybe you should learn to vote locally too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. And speaking of voting, there's really 3 things that I need from folks to help me in this bid, and it's all about you all, really. So I'm one of you all. I'm from West Virginia and part of my local community. And the 3 things that I really need help with is I need people to go vote in the primary. Right now the primary is scheduled on May 12th. If it doesn't get pushed back, So I really need you to go out and vote, and I need support financially. I don't have a whole lot of money, and I'm very good at using a little bit of money and making it go far, and that'll help me get the message out to more people. And then speaking of getting the message out to more people, the last thing that I really need your help with is to share this message with all of your friends, family, coworkers, and help to pass that out. This is a grassroots campaign, and I can't do it without you all, and without the hundreds of thousands of dollars like my opponent has. We really need to get that message out by less costly means, and you all can do that on your end and help me out. And by helping me out to get in office, then I can help you all for the various things that we can all succeed on through agriculture that's local to our communities and local in West Virginia. With that, I'm going to let you all go today. If you have any comments, feel free to leave it down below in this forum, or you can email me at rameyforwv@gmail.com. And I appreciate you all. You take care and have a great day.